Welcome to my not so cool pre-intro video where I have nothing to say right now. I love you. Say it back. Say it back. But in all seriousness, welcome back to the False 9 TV, and we are doing our weekly Grimsby America show. And I appreciate your view, and I appreciate you coming back to support me and spending a little bit of the time out of your day with me. And time is precious, so trust me, I absolutely don't take it for granted. Thank you very much for watching this video. So we have some things to talk about, don't we? And unfortunately, not all of it is good. And in fact, the majority of it is not good. But I'm still going to continue my try not to be negative persona on here. And we're going to be neutral but critical of what's going on. And as a side note and another shameless plug, if you're interested in doing a 10-second video for me, send me a DM right here. Right there. I'm going to give you some time to look it up. Make sure you screenshot it, do what you got to do. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into our sections for the Grimsby America, and we'll start off like we always do. So we start off with the women, and we start off this video of just a silhouette of sappiness right off the bat. The women were playing away at Sherwood, and I can confirm that Beth did not get her 897th goal of the season. In fact, they were shut out and lost 1-0. And I'm going to ask this question again because I have read very mixed things about this. I would love to watch the ladies play. I have read very mixed things that I can watch them on YouTube, but I've not seen them on YouTube. I've read Mariners TV, but unless I'm just missing it, I don't see them on Mariners TV either. Even if there's not a way to watch them, if you know that there's not, or if you know that there is, please comment and let me know. I'd love to get some support to the ladies. But it was not a fun weekend for them. There wasn't many updates, so I've got to assume it probably was one of these terroristic type football games where just not a lot happened, aka probably watching Burnley play. But still, they dropped some points. We'll get them next time, ladies. And we'll get on to the lads on loan section of Grimsby America. And lads on loan isn't quite as dark as the other sections on this video, but at the same time, there's nothing bright about it either. Grayson Giles did not make the senior team this week, so he did not play. Thanks to this comment, which I'll try to put on the screen right now, I now kind of understand that he has been loaned out to the, I guess, the youth squad, which is why he's not making the senior teams, which makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, I don't have a whole lot of information on Grayson. And Pike, I mean, he's still nursing his injury from what I understand. I don't know how long he's out for, how long he's going to be, if he's even going to be back this year. I have no idea. But he is not playing for Eastleigh, and so he is another did not play. And the cream of the crop with lads on loan was Matty Carson, or at least historically it's been Matty Carson. But this week, he did make the bench, but he did not play. I don't know if he picked up a knock or anything, but I've got to assume that this might just be rest as a precaution because he's played a lot of minutes since he's went there. And he's looked very, very well when he has played. So I'm just going to, unless someone tells me differently, I haven't read anything. I Their admin on their social media has not mentioned anything about him getting a knock or anything that I saw. But I'm just going to chalk this up as a W and just say that it was just a precautionary rest that was planned. His team, however, did lose 2-0, I think, for the second week in a row. So take that for what it's worth. Now we get into this week's past games, and we've got two to cover this week. And a quick apology because apparently my microphone died sometime during the previous sections of this video. So if my audio comes out completely terrible, bust your eardrums, or you have to, do that thing to even hear what I'm saying, apologies, but I don't know if you can tell, that's actually outside. So, I'm doing my normal film this at like 1 o'clock in the morning and try to edit it before the next day because for some reason my life is chaotic and I never have time to do anything. But hey, sorry ahead of time. So let's go ahead and get into Saturday's game against Walsall, which let's talk some positives. So it was a very exciting game, and I apologize for looking at my notes. It's just at this point that game seems like it was forever ago. So in the 28th minute, our one of our main guys, Green, was on an attack, right? And I thought this attack was absolutely beautiful. He beat a couple of defenders on the ball. He was moving forward. He wasn't back passing. He wasn't moving sideways. He was moving completely straight, which is just a beautiful attack. He did not earn the reward of a goal, but I did want to shout out that particular series of events because it was pretty to watch. And around the 47th minute, Rogers made a very, very nice save in the near the goalkeeper, and it was right before halftime. I did want to shout out the defender because I like shouting out the defenders and the goalkeepers. Speaking of the goalkeeper, I do want to be critical on two things here. I don't want to devalue any of our players, but the decisions that our goalkeeper makes sometimes, and notice when I'm negative, I try to not say names, but he makes some very interesting choices sometimes. It's like I don't know. We have a goalkeeper here in the U.S. He's the starter for our men's national team. He plays for Crystal Palace, actually. His name is Matt Turner. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, if you've ever seen him play. But he grew up here in the U.S. and didn't start playing goalkeeper until his later years. So a lot of the choices that his decision making, a lot of his positioning is not par with someone who's played it their entire life, right? And Wright reminds me a whole lot of Matt Turner in that sometimes his positioning just kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit, and sometimes the choices he makes are just not to be desired. But just like Matt Turner, he can make hella good saves, and he's a good shot blocker, and he can make some good penalty saves, and those things make you forget about a lot of the choices that he makes. But as someone who played goalkeeper, I watch him, right? And there's a lot of worries that I have about him. And if you've been following my other series where I'm doing 5, I guess, players that we should look out for if we get promoted, and 5 players that we should look out for if we don't get promoted, I'm covering the strikers and the goalkeepers on this video because I think that those are our 2 weakest points, and you guys agree with me according to this poll. So if you're not watching those videos, I've already posted one of them. Go back and watch it. I've got a lot of good feedback on it, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it. So that said, another thing that I won't say it's not like I just noticed it this past game, but it just didn't hurt us that much last game. And a lot of times we have chances that are not 50-50s, right? They're more 60-40, 70-30 that should be in our favor, whether it be one-on-one with the keepers, whether it be an open area to actually make a good shot. We mess it up somehow, or we just completely miss, right? I mean, some people might look at this as, oh, nice, we're making chances, but the chances we're missing shouldn't be chances that the club misses, that the players on the field miss. And although the win on Saturday kind of covered up for it, if that had been a draw, I think these things would have been a lot more amplified than what they were. And I'm not just talking about Barrington there at the end. There were several other shots that I feel like should have been taken, or at least should have been made. But I I digress. We'll move on to today's. Well, I guess it was technically yesterday here against Notts County. Now, let's see what I've got written about this. So I do want to make a quick note here, just like last time. The game comes on right in the middle of my workday. I try my best to take my lunch where I can watch some of it, but I deal with numbers, I do accounting, finance, and that sort of thing. So I cannot take my full attention to the game when I'm dealing with numbers. But I did try to watch as much of it as I could, unfortunately. So a couple of things that I've noticed in today's game, and again, I don't have the full picture, right? 30% paying attention to the game, okay? So I don't have the full picture, so if I'm saying something that you don't agree with, just let me know. So I noticed a lot of passing that seemed like they were passing just to pass, right? There was no real end goal in the pass, or they were taking unneeded chances on passes. And I think a good analogy on this is, if I had $5 left in my pocket, right, and I had to eat, would I spend that $5 on a lottery ticket, thinking that maybe I could turn that into I don't know, $3,000, or would I rather buy a burger? Yeah, I'd rather play safe and buy the burger. So, but a lot of the passes that we're doing are trying to win the lottery, right? We're trying to make something out of nothing, or just something and just hope that something happens. So it just seems like it's passing just to pass, and that leads to a lot of unnecessary giveaways, a lot of just bad plays, and a lot of bad football, right? The play, I thought, at least the passing, I thought looked as bad as the pitch. And we already know I'm not a fan of the pitch right now. And the last thing that I kind of want to touch on, unless you want to count the pitch as that, is the fans. Now, it's one thing to leave early, and that's something I strongly disagree with, right? And unless, you know what, if we were in a relegation battle and the manager was making terrible decisions, the front office was making terrible decisions, I understand not showing up, and I understand leaving early. But that's not the case. We're playing very well. Now, granted, we've slowed down a little bit compared to last month, but we're playing very well. And look at what's at stake. Yeah, we had a bad game. Yeah, it looked ugly from what I saw. But leaving early is just something that I don't believe in. And if you don't agree with me, that's completely fine. That's your opinion. But just my opinion is, I don't think that's something you should ever do for a club that you support. And the incident with the fan yelling at Martel, I don't know what happened, right? But I saw it a little bit, and I read on X about it. Shame on you. Like, honestly, shame on you. This club has a something. I'm excited right now for the first time in a while. And I know a lot of you guys are too. To just act like we are in a relegation battle or in an uphill battle, or just, again, just shame on you. Whoever did that, I just don't think there's a need for that. And that's not the positive me talking. That's the real me talking. So now that that's out of the way, now that these two games are out of the way, we've got a clean slate heading into Saturday. So let's get into that game. So Saturday's game, we have the mighty, mighty Man United players who just wanted something to do FC. We play Salford. And I think, should the players not be too defeated for how we left them hanging. And should they be up for the challenge, I'm predicting a 2-0 win. And here's why. So I always like to give you a form rundown on the team we're up against. Again, forgive me for looking at my notes here. But in the last 10 games, Salford have tied 5 times, or draw, that was the American in me. 5 draws, 4 losses, and one of those losses came against a team who had the red card, by the way. And they've won 1 game. So they're 1-5-4. They've got 13 goals for and 18 goals against. So they're currently giving up quite a bit of goals. They got 2 shutouts in that time period and 1 clean sheet. And by shutouts, I mean they're shut out. They've been shut out twice. The only thing that I really have of note is I think this is a very winnable game, and I think this is, I hate to say it, but I feel like it's a must-win game for us. And the player that I've got to watch out for this weekend, and I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong because I'm not really sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. Kelly Namia. You know who I'm talking about. He scored 2 goals in the last 3 games, so he's in form right now. But I think I call me biased, but I love our defenders, and I think our back line is very trustworthy for the most part. So I don't think they're going to have much issue shutting Salford down. But, you know, like I've said in a couple of videos, our depth worries me. I mean, you saw it in this game. We changed up quite a bit, and our depth worries me a little bit. But I think we're going to show up this game, and I think we're going to win back over the fans. So let's go get them, boys. 2-0. Thanks for coming out today. I'm sorry this went a little bit longer than what I normally do. It's just I was a little disappointed in how the supporters were today, whether it be they're leaving early or the argument with the manager. Either way, I just don't think that sets a good tone for the players who are trying to play for the badge. I mean, I know if I was on the pitch and I saw the fans and supporters leaving that early, I'd be a little – I'd feel down. I honestly would feel down. So keep that in mind if you ever show up to the park. I wish I had the ability to show up and support them. You have the privilege of doing it if you're in Grimsby or the area, so keep that in mind. That said, guys and girls, thank you for watching the video. Sorry it went too long. Be safe. Appreciate you guys.